Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of the Bangka Belitung Islands in Indonesia. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm going through every region of the world in alphabetical order. So we are on the BAs, and thank you to the person who noted that I had accidentally gotten out of alphabetical order. I should have done this one before Bangkok. You're totally correct, and thank you. There has been some times that I've messed up the order, but no one's called me out on it, and I want you guys to call me out on it because I want to make sure it's as correct as possible. So thank you. So we'll do this tonight. This really cool group of islands here in the world's largest archipelago. And then we're going to head back to Africa to talk about some more capital cities in Africa. But a pit stop over here in Indonesia. The Bangka Belitung Islands have two main islands, and guess what they're called? One is called Bangka, and one is called Belitung. There are lots of other islands that are part of this little island group. I believe this is the largest one here, called Lipar. But all of the islands here are quite beautiful. Of course, we are in a very lovely part of the ocean here. To the north, we have the Natuna Sea, which is part of the South China Sea. To the east, you can see this big island here is Borneo, and it's separated by the Karamata Strait. To the south, we have the Java Sea, which we just covered Bali not long on my channel. I'll put the little thing right up there. And that's where you'll find Bali and the Java Sea. And then over here you can see the main island of Sumatra. And just across from Sumatra and Bangka, we have the Bangka Strait. And separating the two main islands is the Jalasa Strait. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would appreciate anyone out there that speaks Bahasa or just knows. I always appreciate mispronunciation corrections as well, so that my video is as accurate as possible. Always be sure to check the comments for any updates to inaccuracies if you want the up-to-date details. All of these islands are also quite forested. Very thick, jungly trees. A few mountainous areas on both main islands, which create lots of beautiful valleys and rivers flowing throughout. And of course, the islands are lined with gorgeous beaches. Both of the main islands are. The capital you can see right here is Pangkal Pinang on the island of Bangka. There are other areas that are not quite as forested. The islands are definitely not as forested as they once were about 200 years ago. But we're going to talk about that in its history. So let's get into it. The first peoples that would have lived on these islands were the Orang Laut, which is not a one ethnic group. It is a multiple groups of people. It's translates to the sea peoples. So it's that, I guess, confederation of ocean travelers that lived throughout the islands here, mainly up near, I don't think you can see, but toward Singapore and Malaysia up there. I think that's where most of them lived. The islands were controlled by many different powers over the years. From the 7th to the 13th centuries, they were ruled over by the Srivijaya Empire, which ruled out of Sumatra over here. They were a Buddhist empire. In the 14th century, it was controlled by the Majapahit Empire, which we talked a lot about in the Bali video. They were based in Java. You can't even see Java. Hold on. There's Java. Java's down here. they're based out of Java, and they were like a Hindu/Buddhist empire. In the 16th century, we have the Palembang Sultanate out of Sumatra, and as you can tell by the name, they were a Muslim empire. And in the 17th century, they were controlled by the Mataram Sultanate out of Java, which you know is just down here. And of course, by the name, you can also tell it's a Muslim empire. The Mataram were the last reigning indigenous power before the Dutch took control. And of course, because the last great powers before being colonized were Muslim, many people in Indonesia are Muslim. To this day, it's one of the most populous Muslim countries in the world. So I think it was 97% of the population of the Bangka Belitung Islands are Muslim to this day. So yes, the Dutch were the main superpower in Indonesia, but it was a little rocky at first. The Dutch officially annexed the islands in 1806, but were more concerned with other areas of the archipelago to really do anything here. So in 1812, during the peak of the Napoleonic Wars, the British came in and captured it and held these islands for 2 years until they handed them back over to the Dutch. Now, of course, the people here were none too pleased about being colonized. They're, of course, their own independent peoples who have been living their own independent lives for generations upon generations. You don't appreciate a superpower coming in and telling you that they're better than you and they now control you. That's not cool. And that was especially not cool for a man named Dapati Amir. Dapati is a title. His father was the reigning Dapati. I guess like an elite person in the community here. The Dutch promoted Dapati Amir to Dapati to try to soothe him, I guess appease him. But it did not work, and Dapati Amir raised a ruckus. There was a coup attempt led by him and a general resistance to Dutch colonialism between 1849 and 1851. Eventually, the Dutch went out and they exiled him to Timor, which is an island down toward that way and has its own very long, convoluted history with colonialism and Indonesia in general. That's a story for another day. Dapati Amir, however, today is revered as a national hero. Indonesia has a holiday called Heroes Day, which they obviously honor national heroes, and I believe they add one or two every few years or so. But Dapati Amir is one of those. Also, the main airport in Pangkal Pinang is called the Dapati Amir Airport, and when I was Googling trying to get information to learn more about Dapati Amir, all I would get was information about the airport. So I'd be like, Dapati Amir history, and it would be like, oh, the history of the airport, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So that is what I managed to find for you. The entire future of the island would change in 1851 when tin was discovered here on Belitung. Belitung actually being named after Belitung, you can see there, which is a type of mineral that's harvested on this island. And the mining industry here absolutely exploded. Lots and lots of tin mines were established on Belitung and on Bangka. And to operate those, they hired some indentured servants, mainly from China. Lots of Malays as well, but mainly from China. And most of those Chinese people were of Hakka descent. Most Chinese people today are of Han descent. So it's one of the ethnic minorities of China. There is still a very large Hakka population in the Bangka Belitung Islands today. the capital city, Bangka Pinang, was established in 1913 in order to help out the tin industry, which would go through highs and lows through the 20th century, highs during World War I, lows during the 20s and 30s, highs during World War II, and in fact, that was very important because the Japanese came and occupied the islands between 1942 and 1945, and they were very interested in getting that tin, right? Very, very interested. Today, tin is very important because I believe they use it in cell phone batteries. If I recall the stats that I read, just jumping ahead in history, if I recall the stats I read, 90% of China's tin comes from these islands. That's something. Which, of course, China manufactures a lot of cell phones, so they need a lot of tin. And it's been a bit of a blessing and a curse for these islands. But let me wrap up the history section before I get too off track. Indonesia became independent in 1950. Bangka Pinang was named capital in 1956. And because these islands were grouped in with South Sumatra, you can see right here, the population was ever expanding. These islands were being quite neglected, so they were made their own region in the year 2000. And it does have a very large tourist industry to this day. Lots of resorts and things all around in the beachy areas, lots of hikes and lots of outdoor activities planned on both main islands. But getting back to the tin, right? A blessing and a curse. A blessing because it would make the economy of these islands absolutely blossom for periods whenever tin was needed in history, but at the detriment to the environment of the islands. There are many places around the islands that are dug out and completely destroyed by the tin mining corporations that established mines there. And, you know, it's mining in general is never the best for the environment. So many of the official tin companies shut down production, and those areas are just left to just exist, I suppose, not growing any new life, just being rocky and desolate. I'll show you on Google Earth in a bit, of course. But the industry has shifted to offshore because you can find a lot of minerals in these soils, and apparently if you dive down in the waters just offshore, you can scoop up handfuls of sand that contain tin in it. You just have to filter it out and sell it. And many people have abandoned their traditional farming, fishing, crafting jobs to dive down and scoop out this tin. And of course that is very dangerous because I'm sure if they don't have any kind of diving equipment, they're just swimming. And I'll show you on Google Earth as well, a lot of the areas, especially around here, the water around the shore is brown, and that's from all the silt being dug up from people digging deep in the sand underwater. So it's a tough situation, isn't it, when many people make a living off of this industry, even though it's quite dangerous to them and very dangerous for the environment. And mining is never a permanent thing, isn't it? It's going to run out eventually. Our earth is beautiful and makes lots of fantastic resources for us to live wonderful, comfortable lives, but we have to respect the earth in order for the earth to respect us back. So you have to be careful with mining. Mining can give us wonderful, wonderful things, but you have to be careful with it, to not exploit it too much. Nauru is the main example to show what not to do, along with some areas of the islands here. So why don't I show them to you over on Google Earth? Let's hop on over to the tablet. Here we are, Bangka, Belitung Islands. You can see them highlighted here, all the little islands around as well. But let's zoom out so we can see exactly where we are in the world. So here you can see the Indonesian archipelago, which I said before is the world's largest archipelago. An archipelago is just a fancy geography term for a group of islands that are all very close together. So some of the world's largest islands are here, and the world's largest archipelago. You can see here's the South China Sea. We've got Australia down here. We've got Southeast Asia up there. There's China, the Philippines, which we're going to later this week, so keep that in mind. I'm excited because I haven't done a Philippines video yet in this series. I love the Philippines. But let's talk about these islands. Goodness, where should we start? I guess we start in the capital city, shouldn't we? Bangka, Penang. Let's see what's in this slideshow. So these islands are places that have so many different slideshows here on Google Earth. I haven't combed through all of them because there's so many. So I thought, you know what, why don't I just do it live? We're doing it live just to see what we find. I did see what you saw for a second there. This park. Merdeka, I believe, is also the name of a huge park in, I think, Jakarta, so not to be confused. But it's a really pretty little park, isn't it? With some neat little memorials. There's one in particular, this one, which I really tried to figure out what this was supposed to mean. And I tried to use Google Translate and what have you to try to read pictures I found of this plaque, and I believe it has to do with the tin mining industry and something like that. Maybe Chinese immigration, because that's a big Chinese coin. Something to do with earning money from the tin industry. So if anyone knows, let me know. I can only find information in Bahasa, and it was all translated quite poorly by Google. Why don't we start in the interior and work our way out? There are some slideshows up here. I think this is the highest peak on Belitung. I think this was a good slideshow that I found. Just to show you an example of what the interior looks like. And like many places in Indonesia, it's thick rainforests, beautiful waterfalls, beautiful scenery, all green and thriving and full of life. Lots of people's taking selfies. Pretty cool, huh? Let's see what this is. Oh, no slideshow there. How about this? This has a picture of a little camera. Oh, another beautiful waterfall. Oh, they're camping. Gorgeous, isn't that so pretty? And of course, quite humid and hot. Do get monsoon rains. Very typical of this area. But it creates this lush, thick jungle atmosphere, which is very rare to find on Earth. Look at all these friends camping. And then we have, of course, the beaches. Why don't we find a beach? Let's look over here. That looked like one. Come back. This looks like something here. A little cove. Yeah, fun little beach. Wow, that's gorgeous. I bet that water feels incredible. That would be me, just sitting on the beach, just taking it in. Ooh, camping. Oh, have fun. Going out into the water. Get your little boats there and enjoy what Mother Nature gives us. Oh, look at this wave. Oh, I love swimming in the ocean. If you've never done so, you should try it at least once. It's fun in that scary way. It's scary in a fun way. When you feel a wave crash against you and push you down. You just get back up and looks like some little fishies. Look at that. Wait, what was that? They got all kinds of stuff over here. And friends camping out. How fun is that? But check this out. You see what I mean? There are some parts of these islands that are completely devastated. And you find little pockets of them. It looks quite a lot like Nauru's a bit, isn't it? Except not as many lakes. Areas that are completely dug out from the mining industry. I was reading a news article about what's going on in the area here that took place in this town. And they were like, look at the water, and you can see it from up here. How the water is just brown, and that is from boats going out and people diving in and digging up all the silt on the ocean floor to look for tin. Look how thick brown it is. Quite devastating, isn't it? That sand and soil isn't meant to be disturbed like that to create this yucky brown color. And there's also huge areas here, look at this, that are just completely devastated. But thankfully, the industry is ground to a halt to protect what forest we have left. Why don't we look in the south and see if we can find a beautiful slideshow of the forest that we still have. Let's look at this. And of course, all of these are in Bahasa, Indonesia, so I can't read what any of these are saying. Translations would be appreciated. It looks like a little eco lodge. Perfect for tourism, perfect for birthday parties. It's Raka's birthday, you guys. Happy birthday, Raka. They got all kinds of snacks out here. Their friends together. How wonderful. A little place to celebrate life there. I tried to look at the other islands. I didn't really find anything too spectacular. You can see some farms there, of course. Oh, this looks nice. Oh, you can see all the soil dug up there, too. Let's see what this is. Nothing. Ooh, here we go, here we go. Wow. Oh my goodness. This is my dream. Yes, that would be me, for sure. Look at the scenery, look at the ocean. Frying up some fish that they probably just caught. Enjoying the waves. Barbecuing. Yum, yum, yums. Oh, how lovely. Look at that white sand, too. That beautiful blue water. That's what I'm talking about. Let's check out Belitung before we end the video, because you can't look at one and not the other. Let's see, what should we explore here? We can see more of the brown water there from boats digging in the water. Let's see what this is. Oh, how fun. Oh, it's a little area set aside for people to take pictures and enjoy the ocean. Oh, baby, so cute. And splashing around. Just as baby should be out having fun in the world. Let's look inside. What's this? Oh, it looks like some kind of farm. Let's find some nature. The farms are interesting, but maybe it's just all farmland out here. You can see some forest here, but lots more agriculture out here. There's some camping out here. Oh, a geosite. I think I was looking at this. Yeah. Oh, fun. A little hiking trail there. Oh, wow. Of course, more beautiful waterfalls over here. I bet it's all hot and steamy up there from the humidity and the gushing river water. Wow, incredible. All these big, big rocks. How many waterfalls are in this set? I think I've identified maybe 2 or 3 different ones just in this slideshow. This is so pretty. Oh, how lovely. But in a nutshell, that is the Bangka Belitung Islands. What is this? That looks interesting. Oh, how cute, a little koi pond. Goldfish or something. Fantastic. Fantastic. Playground. Trees. What else do we have? A little stream. Oh, I wonder if this is another eco lodge for tourists to enjoy the beautiful nature and keep everything sustainable. keep Mother Nature protected while enjoying it. Fantastic. That's what I like to see. We want more of that. We don't want so much more destruction, right? Let's find a random town to end it out on. I like the sound of Sanku. Nope, no Sanku. Petaling has a little slideshow. It's 8 pictures. Looks like they're building a house. Well, I guess we're gonna end it here. Oh my goodness. Look at this mosque. It's so beautiful. Look how the colors and how modern it looks. That's fabulous. Little school. But that's where we're going to end the video for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something new today, leave this video a big thumbs up and let me know what you learned down in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. And if you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is an ongoing series on my channel, like I explained, and we're heading back over to Africa. We're going to look at the capital cities of the Central African Republic and the Gambia. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive yet, just based on what I've scripted. I think the one for Bangka is going to be map only, and the one for Banjul is going to be tablet only. So be sure to subscribe because I have both style of videos coming out very, very soon. I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a good night. Good night.